Yes, folks, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Please do like and subscribe. It's down there, folks. Yeah, and you can see the links to my interviews with Sean Atwood and James English and a connection to my book. I'm going to talk today about the problems of mental illness and drug addiction in prisons. Now, for a good 4 years of my service in the prisons, I was a hospital officer, and at the time, inmates coming in to the prison were interviewed by the medical staff, including myself, and of course they were seen by a doctor, and any problems that they had they were asked to disclose, and they were treated accordingly. But if you came into the prison and you said you were addicted to morphine, cocaine, heroin, marijuana, anything like that, you were on reception, you were advised to report sick the following morning, and you would be seen by the duty doctor. And you wouldn't be prescribed anything on arriving at the prison. So if you were really hooked up on it and you were going into jail, then you were going into jail cold turkey until the following morning when you would be seen, and possibly you would be given treatment by the doctor, but not necessarily. Strange ways, they didn't prescribe any alternatives. You were required virtually to go cold turkey. So that's what happened to the people who were drug addicted. They were just not given anything. They were stuck in the cells. Now you can imagine if you're in the cell with somebody who's coming down, and it can be quite dangerous for them as well. But they receive no treatment, no alternative. They weren't prescribed that, believe me. So I don't know what it's like today. I don't believe that they would do it today, but they're certainly not. Certainly in my time they were not. And it's the same thing with people who are suffering from mental illness. They get into the prison system and they're seen on reception. They would be advised, that they should report sick, and they could then say, I'm schizophrenic, I've got bipolar disease, I've got all sorts. It doesn't matter. You're stuck in the cells, and there is effectively no treatment was being offered to people who were coming in with mental incapacity, just stuck in the prison cells. Of course, you get people there, and if they really are mentally ill, they shouldn't be there. But because there's no major asylums anymore, they've closed them all down. Yeah, they used to have massive, great mental institutions. They don't have them now. They have institutions for the criminally insane, like Broadmoor and Ashworth, but actually being incarcerated in there, you've got to be seriously disturbed to be going in there. People in there like the Cray twins who were psychopaths, yeah, they'd be put in there. Grendon Underwood treats psychopaths. It kind of guides them into a more productive life. Absolutely. If you want to read the story of a successful psychopath who went on to make a good name for himself, the book is called A Product of the System. And the author, you'll see that. A product of the system. The author is Mark Leech. Mark Leech, who's well known in prison circles as the author and publisher of The Prisoner's Handbook. Read that. He was in Grendon Underwood and it changed his life. He went on, studied, got a master's degree in law and set himself about enlightening the world about the conditions in the prisons. Very well done to Mark Leech. It's a big success. Last I heard, he was flying a helicopter in Thailand. He's back in England now, I believe. I haven't seen him for a while. Mark Leech, yeah, read it. So yeah, the problem is, of course, on the landings, you've got people who are coming in who are seriously mentally ill, psychopaths, bipolar, all the full range. They're just slung into the cells. Of course, then the authorities, the Home Office, the Minister of Justice and all that, they believe that the prison staff are totally responsible for their care. I believe that shouldn't be the case, because prison staff are, generally speaking, not trained to deal with patients, and these people should be patients, not prisoners. But the courts are sentencing people who are mentally ill, people who are out of their minds through addictions to drugs, and they're sentencing them to terms of imprisonment where they're put into jails like Strangeways and Wormwood Scrubs, Wandsworth, Pentonville, Armley Jail, you name it, Barlinnie. They throw them into the cells of those old prisons, and there's nobody there to treat them. Prison staff don't know what to do with them. And of course, you get prison officers who are dealing with people who are mentally ill. They're likely to be less understanding than psychiatric nurses, because they're just not trained to deal with that, and they don't have any facilities to offer any remedies other than to meet the mistaken aggression of these people with violence. And that is where the things start to go seriously wrong in the prisons. And of course you get people who are disturbed and they lose the will to live and self-injure. There's numerous self-injuries in prisons, mainly self-injuring in female prisons. But also we've got people who are attempting or actually succeeding in committing suicide in prisons. And because the staff are not trained to observe this or believe that the inmates who are threatening suicide may be serious, they just, I feel that it's irresponsible of the government and the Ministry of Justice to place people who are psychiatrically disturbed, suffering from problems like that, just throwing them into prison, which is not the correct place for them. Should be in an institution where they can be properly cared for by trained staff, which is not prison officers. I mean, I've said this before, you look on YouTube and you'll see there's advertisements for prison officers. You've got some young woman about 20 years old, wet behind the ears, saying anybody can be a prison officer. Unfortunately today that seems to be the case. And what is happening is the system is just breaking down, because it's no longer considered to be a professional career, is it? It's just a job. Anyway, that's my take on the problems in the prison for the mental illness. Alarm bells ringing, folks. Yeah, and I am going to sing to you today. It's this is for Larry, really. Why don't women like me? Yeah, because Larry is into goats, not women. I believe that's the case, isn't it, Larry? Anyway, here we go. This is originally recorded by George Formby. Why don't women like me? Now I know I'm not handsome, nor good looks or wealth, but the girls I chase, my plain face will compromise their health. Now I know fellows worse than me, bow-legged and boss-eyed, walking out with lovely women clinging to their side. Now if women like them, like men like those, why don't women like me? Look at Empress Josephine, the most attractive woman there has ever been. Yet Napoleon, short and fat, captivates a lovely-looking dame like that. Now if women like them, like men like those, why don't women like me? Hey, why don't women like me? Last night I went out walking, my intention was to click, but the nights I saw while walking out, they nearly made me sick. I must admit I saw some girls, attractive little dears, arm in arm with ugly men with cauliflower ears. Now if women like them, like men like those, why don't women like me? What can the attraction be? That's the thing that starts to worry me. Although I haven't got to be, I've got a lot of things the girls have never seen. Now if women like them, like men like those, why don't women like me? Hey, why don't women like me? Now I went for my holidays down to gay seaside. I saw a lot of things being hidden by the tide. They say some women jumped up and down in the sea. Made me think that there's still a chance for me. 'Cause if women like them, like men like those, why don't women like me? Take Lord Nelson with one limb, Lady Hamilton, she fell for him, with one eye and one arm gone west. She ran like the devil, and she grabbed the rest. Now if women like men like those, why don't women like me? I really deconstructed that one, didn't I? That was Why Don't Women Like Me? Yeah. Don't worry, Larry, the goats like you, mate. Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton.